definitely didn't bribe him to play that. If anyone knows me, they know that I love Harry Styles, so I'm just putting it out to the universe, manifesting my future husband. My name is Miss Derry, and I am very happy to be here tonight to talk about my perspective on resilience. I am a very proud mum to two beautiful little boys. I am a social media manager, but I'll get there later on. My story was nothing but good. Had a very good primary school experience, had a great group of friends. I was just very happy, had a very supportive network. My family, as always, have always been my #1 fans. But then the 11 plus came, and let's just say I didn't perform well under pressure. When the 11 plus happened, I was traumatised going into that, even at that young age. My friends all passed, I did not, and I was the only one who went to a different secondary school to my friend group. And that was my very first experience of resilience. Because I had to walk in on my own, knowing no one, and that was very difficult. I was very quiet without my friend group, so I was very easy to pick on and bully. In school, I was called ugly. I used to go in and eat my lunch in toilets, and I would see in marker on the toilet cubicles my name followed by just horrible words about my looks and just anything that they could say really. But I was very easy to target because I would never have went to a teacher, which they knew, so it was just easy to pick on me. I left school, went to college, and I found a new group of friends, and that's where I started to find my feet. I reconnected with my old primary school best friend. I made a few more best friends, and I fell in love for the first time. Everything was great. I had my boys to say a guy I fell in love with. But then 6 weeks before I gave birth to Mason, my eldest, who's sitting over there tonight, I lost my granddad very unexpectedly. And that was very tough because trying to navigate becoming a new mum alongside losing someone who is such a huge part of your life, just completely out of the blue, is very tough. My granddad was more like a second dad to me, and that day he had done the school run, and that night he was gone. Had Mason 6 weeks later. I wouldn't say I had postpartum depression to the point where I couldn't connect with Mason or I was, crying all the time. I was just very obsessed with Mason. I would stand at his cot and I would make sure Mason was breathing. Very paranoid. If anyone lifted Mason, I was like sitting down, like, he's mine, hands off. But I knew it was wrong, but it's just how I think I was navigating grief. 7 months later, my nana passed away, and she was living with us, and watching her navigate heartbreak and losing her soulmate of over 50 years was incomprehensible. You just can't watch that. And then of course the boy's dad and me, we were very young, so I think he didn't have the tools to deal with what I was going through. I was having panic attacks, my mental health was on the floor. And I think Paul just wanted me to switch back to normal Amy, and that just wasn't happening at that time. So we broke up and that ended. And so I was navigating grief plus heartbreak, which is not a good combination. 3 people who were massive parts of my life were just wiped out. And when you see that girl who's like getting over the breakup on TV and it's like her life's ended, that was me times 1,000. Mum, she had some hard days. But I went and I spoke to my GP, and mental health is not a one-size-fits-all. But for me, getting on medication was something that transformed my life. And still to this day, I'm on medication for my mental health, and it's something that I'm a strong advocate for because I really believe that without it, I couldn't have moved forward. And I've never actually said that before publicly, but I think this is the safe space to do that. And then I just started my personal development journey through working with Dad and growing my own business. I've got other clients. I work for Lisa McFarland. She spoke here before, the relationship coach, and other people. And just finding my own feet, finding my own voice, my own niche, just made me feel important. And get me to manifest, and I'm a big manifester. I do believe that what you put out to the universe, you will get back. And Roxy Nafisi is my queen. Like, I love her. So I'm a very big manifester, and I believe that your energy, your vibration, all that stuff. I know some people will think that's woo-woo, but to me that's like perfect. And through manifesting, I do believe that I did manifest Miss Great Britain, because growing up, I always knew about Miss Great Britain, always like looked up at these strong, incredible ladies and always thought, like, wow, they're just incredible. And then at a Think Network event, I met Eden McAllister, who was the current reigning Miss Great Britain. And within, I would say, a minute into our conversation, Eden said, you know, you should apply. And to be a fly on the wall for that conversation, I'm sure it would be very funny, because I was just like, no way. It wasn't as politely as that. But I was just like, no chance, I couldn't do that. And he was like, no, honestly, it's not what you think it is. Like, just because you're a mum, like Miss Great Britain loves that, they empower women. And I know when people hear pageants and Miss Great Britain or whatever, they just think you stand on the stage and you look really pretty. And that is part of it, but it's not the complete package. It's all about your platform, it's all about your message, what you want to spread awareness for. And so I applied in secret. Didn't tell my mum, didn't tell my dad, no one knew. And I kept going through each phase, I kept passing each phase, and I was like, okay, you know, this is going somewhere. And then I got the email that I got, Miss Derry, Londonderry, and I was a finalist for Miss Great Britain. And this was last year. And then I was so excited and so proud of myself. Then I was like, oh my God, I have to tell everyone. And I remember having to sit and tell Mum, and Mum at first thought that I was pranking her. She was like, you're not Miss Great Britain, what's up? Like, shut up, like, whatever. And I was like, no, really, I am. And again, Mum was just like, you know, very good. And I handed Mum the phone, and I was like, there, read the email. And Mum was like, what? Like, Mum had to sit down. Like, she couldn't stand. She was like, what? How have you done this? When have you done this? But they were so supportive. My mum and dad were just incredible. That day, Dad was my sponsorship for the competition. Think Network were my sponsors. And this year again. And without their support, I wouldn't be able to go over to England. I wouldn't be able to do what I do, because they're there to keep the boys, and they know the boys so well. And on that note, the boys, when Mason, my eldest, was 18 months old, Mason started showing traits that raised certain red flags. I was like, he's not meeting certain milestones that he should be meeting, and it was things like his speech just wasn't coming. He wouldn't point to things. He played in a way that was very different to other kids. He would line up his toys, and if you so much as moved a toy even an inch, meltdown. And so I raised these concerns to my health visitor, and she mentioned autism. So I was that mum that you see on like Google all night, like researching everything autism. And very quickly, Mason was ticking so many boxes. And we didn't really know what to expect, the journey of autism. It was unknown. I wouldn't say I was ever scared. I just took it as it came. Mason's a dad, which I've learned from lots of other families. It's very common for the dads. he didn't want to believe it was happening. He was very much for his head in the sand. That's not happening, that's not going on. Mason's not autistic. Mason got his diagnosis pre-COVID, whenever he was free. And just being a voice for Mason really helped me find my feet. Mason went to nursery, and because Mason wasn't like the other kids and was quite expressive, Mason was asked to leave after an hour. And that was whenever I was like, I'm not going to be that quiet girl anymore, like I'm going to fight here, because this isn't right. And I became his voice, and there was no way that anyone was going to stop me from doing that. And I did fight it, and Mason got his one-to-one assistant going into mainstream primary school, and he is top of his class. He is absolutely brilliant. And I know all mums say that, but he really is. Noah, his little brother, was the very first P1 in his school to have a one-to-one assistant going into P1 in history. And that's all through fighting and using my voice for my boys, and I'm not going to stop ever doing that. And through Miss Great Britain, I became an ambassador for Autism NI. I work with other families, and I help them get the help that they need, the support that they need. And that really is my passion. I want to be a voice for those who need it most. Not just my boys, but so many others. I myself have scoliosis, which is a curvature of the spine. And I know that going into Miss Great Britain, so many young girls and boys were inspired by that, because they were like, you're representing us up there, and that's incredible, and it gave them inspiration. And that's just what I want to do. This whole thing for me isn't about standing on stage and looking pretty. It's about being a voice for so many others, and hopefully changing society and how the world views them, and just being an ally for those that need it most, because just because you're different doesn't make you any less. And that's all I have to say.